In this video, I will provide an overview of the Virtual Office roster. The roster is located on the Virtual Office homepage. As a web part, you can put it anywhere, but we chose to put it right next to the water cooler so it'll be very visible and accessible right here. This web part lets you set up your status so that your colleagues will know where to find you and have a general sense of what you're doing. The top area of the web part is where the status is set, and the bottom area is a listing of all the roster members. This list is configurable, and later on I will show you how to add and remove members. Let me explain each column of the roster. The first column is a visual of a clock. It just tells you how recently the status of the roster member has been updated. It's a status freshness indicator. The second column is the roster member name with a presence indicator. If you click or hover over the presence indicator, you'll see that you can contact the user either by IM, phone call, video call, or email. If you click on the presence box, you see additional information which is available right there on the roster. The next column is a locator flag. As I mentioned in previous videos, the roster is tightly integrated with the reservation system. The roster would be able to identify if the user has a reservation for today. If the user has a reservation for today, the locator column will turn red. If the locator flag is clicked on, it will bring on this scheduler, which will give a detailed information about the roster member's schedule for that day, including the room that they reserved and the time frame. Similar to the room roster and the scheduling assistant, you can move forward and backwards in time and see exactly the schedule of the roster member. The cool thing about this feature is that if you're not familiar with the space or you're not sure where the roster member is actually sitting, you can actually click on the scheduled reservation and it will take you back to the floor map. It will center and highlight the room so you'll know exactly where the roster member is located and be able to find them. Let me now show you how easy it is to update the status. I can choose a location. Let's say that tomorrow I'll be teleworking. And then I can put in my preferred contact information, which would be a phone number, perhaps. And then I can type in a memo line. I'll go ahead and update. Now that I've updated, everybody that have me in their roster list will see the newly updated status. As I mentioned before, the roster is customizable. Each user has their own specific view of the roster, and they can add and remove members as they please. Let me show you how to edit the individual roster. Simply click on the Edit My Roster link. This will give me a listing of all the team members that I can add to my roster. I can add team members in one of two ways. I can either click on the plus button to add a user and on the minus button to remove a user, or I can search for a roster member by clicking on this handy roster quick search. I can type the roster member. You can see that we have an IntelliSense that allows us to select the user very easily. If the user does not exist in our roster, we'll get the add button. Otherwise, we'll get the remove button. You can go ahead and add the user, and then the member will immediately appear in our roster. Let's go to the home page and we'll see them. Right here. The roster can provide a comprehensive dashboard view of the entire team. It can also extend with tasking system, allowing managers and employees to track tasks and priorities for each member of the roster.